Hello, and welcome to the branding workshop. My name is Nicola from NM Creates, and I'm going to be taking you through how to craft a magnetic brand, master some colour psychology, not too much, and how to define yourself with a unique personality, and also how to maintain brand consistency as well, and what that actually does for your business. So I've been designing now for 13 years, nine of which was part time. Some of that was also when I was in a full time employment, and the last 3 years I've been working for myself full time. I'm a graphic designer, specialise in brand and logo design. I also do a little bit of Wix website, and I do all this through my design intensives, all done in a day to give my clients a really quick design solution. I absolutely love what I do. I wholeheartedly believe that design and business can make a difference to helping you grow in business. But it's not all down just to design. Marketing, imagery, copy, all that comes into play too, and together it can all make a really huge impact. So if you're running a company and you want to be profitable, you have to think of yourself as a visionary. Why should customers choose you over your other companies that are also doing the same thing? What makes you different? Do you actually know your audience? Who are you selling to? Like a lot of people think that's just what it looks like and how you present, a service or a product to your audience, but it's actually a whole host of other things as well. As much as these things come into play, there's other parts to the puzzle. So what branding actually is are brand values, vision, personality, behaviour and identity. So brand values are the foundation of what your branding is actually built upon. When customers come across your website content, printed material, things like that, they'll get an instant feel of your company's values and vision. And everything that's on your website, printed materials, that should all reflect your company's values and evoke certain emotions through the visuals. It's how you communicate to your audience what your brand values are. And these are the personal characteristics that your clients can relate to. And it's the voice that you've got from a business point of view to connect with them on a deeper level. Some of my own core values are high energy, upbeat personality, which helps to inspire and energize my own audience. What that does is it gives them so much joy and innovation, especially when they see their ideas come to life. I've yet to go on a call with a client before we've got to their project and they're not as excited as I am by the end of it. So let's get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of what these are. So, how do you actually craft a magnetic brand? Well, these are the brand foundations. You've got your brand core, brand positioning, and your brand persona. And under each of these are like different sections that you can build upon in order to create a bigger branding picture for your audience. So, your brand core is where it all starts, figuring out your brand's purpose, vision, and values. And it's okay if you only start with values because your branding is ever evolving. It doesn't just stop once you've made a decision on certain things. What tends to happen is as you grow your business, your values might change. You might develop different products or services, or even who you work with, and in which case your branding and what your goals are and what the vision is for the business might change as well. Once you've kind of figured out those parts, you then kind of have a look at your actual audience. Now, understanding your audience isn't a I can sell to everybody. As much as everyone thinks that's the case, it's not. I had a client, and I'm going to show you some of their stuff later on. Who did say to me their ideal audience was anyone over 18. But what we actually done once we done a bit more research into the area, their competitors, who they're actually selling to, we actually figured out that they had three different audience types that they could direct their marketing to. And then that helped us devise and create branding that resonated with these types of audiences. Underneath that, you've got your market and your goals. Now, the goals are really what you want the business to achieve because as much as the branding should connect with your audience, branding should also be related to what you actually want to achieve in business. That could be earning big money, doubling your profits, getting a new service on the go. But we'll get to that in a second. Just going back to your audience, you will have an idea of the type of persona that you will want to attract and the type of person that you would want to work with. But some of the things that you could look at would be age, income, job, relationship status, if that's important. Do they have children? What does that then mean to their values? What kind of things do they love? What do they value? Do they value good quality? Are they kind of looking for great deals? Do they value their friendships? Do they value honesty and trust? You could also then look at their buying behaviour. Are they the type of person to buy instantly? Are they an impulse buyer? Or are they going to really carefully consider what they're buying? And that will then in turn allow you to go, okay, I need to nurture the relationship I've got with that client, and I need to do that through certain ways in my marketing. But your branding has to look the part for that too. You can also look at their hobbies, favourite realtors, who do they buy from, what kind of designers or high street companies do they like, what do they like about them? Is it the quality? Is it the price? Is it, have they got a sustainability factor built into their business? All these things will make a difference to who you're selling to. Once you have figured that out, you then look at your market. So you want to have a look at, who are your direct competitors? Now, using myself as an example, although I have direct competitors, I don't look at them as what are they doing? I need to copy what they're doing. It's more like what are they putting out there on offer, and how can I stand out as the absolute winner? Why would people want to work for me? So there are plenty of other designers out there that offer similar services to me. But one of the things that is my unique point of difference is I don't overcomplicate my services. I keep them really simple. What you see is what you get. It's very clear cut. It's very clear guidance on what I do offer. And that was a big factor for me. So for me in the marketplace, although there's companies out there that do amazing work, they're not quite what I want to work towards, and what the type of customers that I want to work with. So I done a little bit of market research around, who do they serve? What are they doing well? What are they not doing well? What is their branding like? Like, does it look really high end? Is it the type of company where they've always got deals on and offers? And then I'm thinking about, well, what kind of clients would they then attract? Once you've got that in place, then you figure out your goals. And like I was saying earlier, you want to think about things like, what are the goals for the business? Do I want to grow a blog following? Do I want to get more people on the website to buy from me? Do I have a website? And then, what does that look like? So all these, this is where it all kind of starts to come into play. The next big thing that you look at once you've ticked off all these boxes are your brand persona. And you might be wondering how a brand personality is developed. So if you think about it like this, you might be a really high energy, bold and out there type of person. But if your business is to help people with stress management, your approach and your business would be different from this high energy, hyper outgoing person. Not to say that you can't be that person, but someone who's maybe under a lot of stress might want someone that's just going to help them feel calm, not chaotic, not out there, someone that's going to really understand them. And then if you flip that on its head, it's the same for someone who's shy, maybe a bit introverted. But if you're a lawyer, your business needs to be confident. So you can still be shy and introverted and, not very out there, but you can be very confident in your business. And at which case, the colours you choose, how your branding appears, give off that feeling of confidence. So no one needs to know that you are, a quieter, shyer type person, but you know your stuff when it comes to business. And it's also the same for brand voice. So they're kind of in tune with one another. Again, if we go back to the lawyer, you kind of want the voice of that business to be quite, of authority. And equally, if you're a mental health therapist, you might want the voice to sound more compassionate and caring and understanding. So when you think about different businesses that you would buy from, what are you thinking their voices are like? Are they speaking to you that, they're very confident in what they do and they're going to win that case for you? Or actually, I really understand you're under a lot of stress, so I can help you with this and that. And you're almost giving them like a virtual hug. So your voice and your personality kind of are linked with one another. Bringing all of this together will have your business standing out over and above your competition. And from here, this is when you'll then move on to, okay, Let's have a look at logo inspiration. Let's have a look at colours. Ideally, what you want to do when it comes to this is don't follow the trends, because if you follow the trends and you do something, is really quirky and out there at the moment, I can guarantee you in a couple of years it's going to be obsolete and you're going to have to rebrand, and then it's just a waste of money. And I don't like wasting my clients' money. So let's have a wee look into the next part, which is where things start to become a lot more creative. So this is my favourite part of branding when you're doing logo design. Now, disclaimer here, I wouldn't expect you all, or I don't want to overwhelm you with colour psychology, but even if you get the crux of it, and some of the tips that I'll give you today will help you to understand why colours are really important. And you can do your own research and you can get your own information, which might help you choose colours that are really suitable for your own branding. And like one of my biggest tips here is don't choose a colour on your personal preference unless you're selling to yourself, because you want to ensure that the colours you choose are aligned with your values and also your ideal audience. And the next bit we're going to look at is some colours and what their meanings actually are. But yes, your colours that you choose, you still have to like it. Just don't choose pink because it's your favourite colour, especially if you want to give off a really trustworthy, high-end feeling, because I would probably be more inclined to start looking at blue sort of colours, the kind of colours that give you the trust factor straight off. But let's get into some of the colours and I'll explain. So I've just chosen 4, and I'm also going to explain to you guys how you can then take that forward and do a bit more research yourself. So blue is one of the most popular colours. It symbolises trust and honesty, as I've just mentioned. It also gives off the feeling of loyalty, sincerity, confidence, intelligence. It's a very likeable colour. And depending on the tone of the colour, so you can go really pale, which is really calming. You can go a really deep navy colour with it. That becomes a bit more serious and a bit more like high-end luxury. You might find that lawyers and stuff like that might have these nice darker, deeper colours because of what the feelings that they invoke when a company's looking at you. And some of the corporate companies around that you might know of, like Bank of Scotland, energy suppliers, will use the colour blue, and that is a few reasons as to why. Moving on to orange, it symbolises creativity and optimism. It's very playful, it's a very happy colour. It's very friendly, it's motivational, and some of the bigger businesses that you'll know of, Fanta, MasterCard, and Amazon, will use it. It's a really fun colour without it being, too out there. And again, depending on the tone that you choose, you could go for a bit more of a muted colour and it kind of starts taking it into a sort of boho type feeling. Or you can go all out like Fanta and it's a really fun drink, so it's all nice bright colours. Purple, again, this is another one that's kind of high-end luxury. Again, if you go for the really deep colours, this symbolises luxury and leadership, independence, creativity, as well as spirituality and wealth. So you can see how different businesses still work with these colours. Again, some of the bigger popular companies, you've got Cadbury's, Purple Bricks, Zoopla. There's many companies out there that use these colours or a combination of these colours. Another one I wanted to highlight today was pink, because I think, globally it's seen as a very girly colour, especially after Barbie. It is very, very feminine. However, it's also a very confident colour. And the different shades, again, represent different things. And I wanted to kind of explain a little bit about that. So the lighter shades represent sentiment and romance. It's quite a tender colour, very caring, calming. And the bright pinks, they evoke energy, youthfulness, fun, excitement, strength, confidence. And then when you start going into the kind of deeper pinks and the dark pinks, they can be associated with sophistication and seduction. Again, some of the companies, you've got Barbie, Victoria's Secret, and the company Very. So you can see, again, very different companies using the different colours for different reasons. Now, this colour palette has been designed for a florist. It's just one that I've pulled together. It's very feminine, very earthy and welcoming. Now, what I wanted to show was this can be taken just from some simple colours simple images that are pulled together. And then off of that, we can create a colour palette. Now, you may be thinking, well, how does that actually work when you put it all together? So, with that colour palette, it has great contrast, which means that there's a really good balance of dark and light colours and they don't clash. So the main colours are the dark pink and the green. There's a neutral colour and then there's 3 lighter colours as well. Now what you wouldn't do in this particular case is you wouldn't mix your 2 main colours together because the contrast would probably hurt your eyes. But you'll see that the light green would work with the dark green, the light pink will also work with the dark green, and so on. So a lot of these colours will work really well with your main colours, and then the contrast looks like this. So you can see further how the colours then all start to work with one another, and it's ideal as the text is readable, it's really clear, nothing's clashing, nothing is hurting your eyes. The middle one here works, but it's not my favourite because the lighter green just isn't standing out enough. But it depends what this is being used for. If it's, say, a banner on your website, you could use this combination because the lighter colour, it could just be that you're maybe using it to point towards something, like a subtle nod towards something, and not like the green and white or the green and pink where it's a little bit more of a contrast and it's a bit brighter. So although it works, that's probably the only one that I would be a bit hesitant to use unless it was something really subtle. Now the next one I want to show you is sometimes colours can be selected from just a single image and evoke the emotions that your brand is looking for and looking at. However, this palette doesn't work so well and I'm going to show you why. So there's not actually any main colours. They're all kind of fighting for attention. There's no accent or contrast, and that's the biggest issue with this. And you can see the issues with the colour. There's no contrast, it's difficult to read. There's only a couple that actually work, so the actual full colour palette it's not doing what it needs to do. But let's fix it. So what we've done is we've darkened the dark brown and we've added in a neutral accent colour that will work with both the main colours. I've also lightened the green so that it will now work really well with the dark brown. And I've added a beige colour that will work really well with the main colours as well. Now with this, usually what I do with a lot of my colour palettes for my clients is I'll say to them, we'll also add in black and white because sometimes having black text works. And equally, if we want to put white on, the dark brown colour, that will still work and it's not going to look off-brand. But the biggest thing here is that the contrast is improved and you'll see that there's a bigger noticeable difference that this palette makes. It still evokes stability, honest, support and dependability. So it's still got those colours in it. But there's only 2 mixes that we would avoid using because the contrast just isn't good, but it's a good enough selection. And that's probably one of the biggest things. Your colour palette don't all have to work together like the very first one I showed you. Like all of the colours just worked. In this case, most of them work and that's enough. Don't just say, well, I can't use that green because it doesn't match with one of my other colours. You kind of just want a high percentage of your colours to be really big on contrast to make it easy to highlight special offers, highlight sections on your website and actually make it legible on printed documents, social media and stuff like that as well. So my biggest 4 tips for helping to choose colours are, if you're new to this, plan on choosing just 3 colours. You can add in a 4th as long as it doesn't get complicated. But you want to have a base, an accent and a neutral. And that would be enough to get you going. Choosing your base, out of all of your brand personality traits or values, which one is most important and stick with that. Your base should reflect not only the brand's personality but the most dominant trait. So if you really want to appeal to the target audience and you really want to show off trustworthiness, then maybe blue is a great suggestion for you to go with. Choosing an accent colour. So this will be the one you use most after your base colour. This bit's a bit trickier because it doesn't necessarily have to bring in your brand personality, but it kind of does. But equally, we want it to visually pair with your base colour. So don't get too, if you find that bit too complicated, just go with a lighter colour of your main colour. And then choosing your neutral, that will be most likely a lot of your background colour. So avoid choosing anything that's going to clash with your base colour. And typically these are white, off-white, beige, light greys. These will all work as well. What I'm going to do is take you through a couple of brand colour palettes that actually work well and what they give off. So this one here is trustworthiness with an energetic punch. So we've got a kind of dark but kind of muted blue. Works very well with the orange and the yellow. And we've got a neutral sort of beige colour that will work really well with the orange and with the navy as well. So this is a really clear but punchy colour palette. The next one is showing you how you can utilise different blue colours. So this one's very tranquil and fresh, very trustworthy, but you can see the difference in the blue between this one and the one before it. It's almost verging a little bit towards your green colours. So the main colour will work very well with everything. So we've got a lighter blue. We've chosen white, as you can just see the edge of it. And over here is a very, very pale blue that will work very well with the other colours. Now, what we wouldn't do in this case is use the light blue and the white because you'll not be able to see those, but the other ones will work very well. And then just to show you something really simple, black and white, this kind of colour palette is sophisticated, it's charming, it's elegant, it's very clean. And depending on how you work it around, black might be your main colour, but equally, you might decide that one of these neutral colours is your main colour, or the white, and everything else is just added to it. So if you were to choose one of these neutral colours as your main colour, then your, for example, website would look very calming and very, just very chill. If it's black, it's going to be really confident and really bold. So that's a couple of examples of how a really simple palette can actually look really different. Once you've had a look at colour, the next thing, or probably at the same time, would be to start looking at brand inspiration. Now, what I usually do with my clients is I'll get them to do a Google search, maybe just scope out their competitors, pull together some stuff that they're inspired by. One of the best search engines for looking for this type of stuff is on Pinterest. Just go on, sign in or sign up, create a secret board, and then start doing searches. So for example, if you're a travel company, you might want to look at travel branding, travel offers. You might want to look for blue colour palettes, royal colour palettes, boho colour palettes. But all these really simple searches will lead to others. And the great thing about Pinterest is it'll say, oh, do you want to see some more like this? And before you know it, you've jumped down a big rabbit hole, but it gives you so much scope to look at all the different things that are available for you. Again, you can also do a check on what is dominating your industry at the moment. So, for example, in the design world, there's a lot of focus on a particular font being used and a particular colour palette. And for me, I just wanted to avoid it, and I'm still avoiding it because it's not going to make me stand out. It looks beautiful, but it's just not going to make me look any better than the person next to me who's using the same thing. So, as I was saying, what to look for. Check out your competitors, what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, what logos look good, what graphics look good. Search your industry. Have a look at the current logo trends because there might be something about it that you go, oh, that's actually really nice and I like that. Consider your brand values, elegant logos, modern brands, things like that. Do some research on colour palettes. You can also do just a Google search on blue colour meanings, and lots of stuff will come up to say, oh, blue means this or blue means that. They tend all to be round about the same sort of thing, but it will give you a really good insight into what is actually working. This colour palette was pulled together. I just done this really quickly in Canva, But you can see how everything is all looking the same. You know, it's very soft and relaxing. The image that I've used of the model matches the interior of the salon. I've brought together, you know, a really vibrant makeup palette. I've also brought a really aesthetic colour in. And off the back of this, I was able to bring together a particular colour palette. So this is the kind of thing that you can put together yourself in Pinterest. There's loads and loads of mood board templates on there. Now, once you've actually done your branding, you've settled on a logo and colours, the easiest way to keep your brand consistent is to use the same one or two fonts everywhere. So choose a font for your heading, choose a font for your body copy, or paragraph, sorry, not the jargon. If your paragraph text style, you want to use that everywhere, because if you're really consistent, your clients will learn to trust you, or potential clients will learn to trust you really well. Add all your logos, colours and fonts into your Canva kit. It makes choosing templates and designing them to suit your brand consistent, to make sure your brand is consistent, it makes life so much easier, trust me. Use the same profile picture across all of your different social medias, including your website. Get some photography on there as well. And the other thing you can look at to help you with consistency, if you struggle with it for social media, is to use branded templates. Again, what you can do there is you can hire a designer, or you can maybe have a look on the likes of Etsy, or there's other graphic designers that will just sell templates. They can be a particular design, or they can be suited to a particular industry, but sometimes it just helps to cut out the time creating those. And just before we finish up, this is what brand consistency looks like. So this was the client I was talking about earlier that said to me that their ideal audience was 18 years plus. And I was like, no, let's have a proper delve into it. So we delved into tourism in the area. We also looked at all their competitors, and more importantly, the different types of audiences that would be able to afford hiring one of their lodges, because they were luxury lodges, you know, that kind of 5-star, stunning inside, lots of work being done. And what we figured out was there was actually 3 audiences that they could potentially focus. So we ensured that the brand foundations took all of that into account. Travellers, wedding guests, golfers, people who just liked a bit of privacy and luxury when they went away, but they love maybe going around Scotland. When we done the branding, it included a main logo, an alternative logo to give them flexibility, various submarks, including the little icon and stuff like that. That could all then be used across different platforms and marketing collateral. But they also hired me to work on a welcome brochure, Wi-Fi posters, feedback cards, social media, printed templates, like everything was branded, right down to their staff uniforms. But the biggest thing for that is the customer's experience from going on the website and booking, to arriving at the lodge, to leaving the lodge and getting emails. Everything is consistent, so they're instantly trustworthy, even though they were just a brand new company. But it's all about enhancing your customer's experience at this level. So once you've settled on your branding, you can then go, right, okay, how else, could I improve the customer journey, but also my branding? How can we enhance that further? And this is a great example of some of the stuff that you can do. Now, I know I have covered a lot today. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to send me an email or drop me a message on social media. I'll be happy to get back to you. As this is a recording, I don't have the survey. However, if you feel that you've really benefited from this workshop, I would love to hear your feedback. Feel free to drop me an email or leave me a testimonial on social media. I would love to hear your thoughts so that I can improve webinars going forward. My next webinar is in June. We are going to be looking at brand video using Canva, how to utilize that on social media, but making it really easy. And with that, there'll be a couple of templates and stuff. The details for that are on my website. But I hope you've really enjoyed this. I hope it's made you think a little deeper when it comes to your branding and what it actually means, from the nitty gritty foundations to actually getting out there in public. Thank you again for taking time to watch it, and I will speak to you later.